What's going on, guys? Ness here. Now, I was doing a little bit of organizing, a little bit of rearranging some of my crap. I have a ton of crap. And I stumbled across quite a few obscure controllers that I got for various consoles used for various purposes. So I thought that would make a good video. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna play a bunch of games with all of these controllers and see if they're actually any good or just if there's any use for them. Some of them I never even used. So let's get right into it. The first controller I'm going to use is the famous Namco Megacon or Negcon, whatever it was called. Now the Megacon was made by Namco for the PlayStation 1. And what makes this controller unique besides its obvious awkward design is this spinning mechanism in the center that allows the controller to rotate 180 degrees in each direction. Its essential function is kind of like an analog stick with only left and right inputs, basically helping you control your vehicle in whatever racing game you're playing. The Megacon was also one of the first controllers to have pressure sensitive buttons. See these buttons right here, one is labeled 1, the other's 2. They're pressure sensitive, kind of spring loaded, as well as the top buttons right here. The game I decided to play was a Namco racing game. Why not, right? So I played Ridge Racer Type 4, and I have to say, the thing actually has some purpose to it. It's awkward at first, but once you get the hang of the controls, it actually works out pretty okay. One major issue I had is that I constantly felt like I had to rotate the controller back and forth just to keep the car level. The car kept wanting to drift to one side or the other. The Megacon actually has some type of cult following. Some people actually prefer to use these controllers. I wouldn't, but it's definitely an innovative design and seems to get the job done. Up next, I have the Snapstick. It's basically this nub that you attach to the analog stick of an Xbox 360 controller and use it like an arcade joystick. Kinda, sorta, something like that. Now, I don't have a functional Xbox 360 at the moment, but what I do have is a fully functional PS4. And the way this thing is designed, it kind of snaps onto any analog stick. Okay, there's no way this is good for the controller. There it goes. I decided to play Street Fighter V with this thing, and it was awkward as heck. It basically felt like a giant counterweight was attached to the analog stick. I had a hard time executing any of the special moves, and the Ultra, forget about it. It was not happening. I could see this thing being useful for maybe some arcade titles. Maybe that's why it was geared towards the Xbox, because the Xbox had all of those arcade classics on the Xbox 360, but it doesn't have any functional use for any type of fighting game or anything like that. Up next, we have the Turbo Touch 360. It is a line of controllers made by Tricks, whatever that company is called, but there's also one for the Super Nintendo, and instead of a D-pad, it has this touchpad kind of thing right here. It's got turbo switches for the buttons, and it seems to work pretty well. I decided to play Contra Hardcore with the thing, and it seemed to be alright, with the exception of maybe the corners of this directional pad not being able to recognize my touch inputs. But for the most part, back and forth motions and up and down motions seem to work just fine. Lastly, I have the Radica Gamester FPS Master. Yeah, and this thing was basically a first-person shooter controller. I have the original Xbox version, but I think they made one also for the PS2. Now what's so unique about this controller, besides its ridiculous design, is the fact that all of the face buttons are underneath the controller, basically giving the user access to these buttons using their fingers. Your thumbs never have to leave the analog sticks. I guess that's why it's more geared towards first-person shooters. The design, ironically, is very similar to that of the Xbox One Elite controller. It's got this little screen right here that displays the kind of presets and programmable buttons. Yeah, you can program this thing however you would like. I haven't figured out how to do it, but I know you can. So I decided to play Titanfall 2 with this thing. It's ridiculous how many converters I had to use to get this thing to work with the PlayStation 4. And I have to say, it was not bad. It wasn't bad at all. The design was awkward, it felt awkward to hold, but it really didn't affect my gameplay that much. I felt pretty comfortable using it. Wacky design for sure, but as we can see with the Xbox One Elite controller, the design has its purposes. So that's it, guys. Those are a few of the awkward controllers that I have. I have a ton of obscure and awkward devices. Maybe I'll get to some of those later on. If you guys know of any awkward controllers that come to mind or any that you guys have, be sure to let me know in the comment section. Until next time, this is Ness, signing out.